Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening on the Mysterious JG. Last time we read through a bunch of events. Because it's the events that concern the Uesugi that we weren't going to see on screen because of our new plan to do things in such a way that Kenshin Uesugi is going to defeat the Takeda armies, and he will settle a rivalry with Shingen once and for all through victory, and then the Uesugi will go on to conquer the land. That is not what happened in history. So what I've done in the last video, and I'm doing in this video, is to try to go through all the events that we're not going to see, because we're breaking from history at the point where the famous Battle of Kawanakajima took place, and that was, in a sense, not quite the high watermark for Kenshin Uesugi, but it was the point at which our path will break off. So we went through Tomo Palace, which really didn't seem to have anything to do with us, but it was excuse me. Sorry, it was the last event for the Uesugi after the event of Shingen, after the death of Shingen, unrelated to Kenshin's efforts. And Nanao Castle Falls is kind of the beginning of the end, even though it's not necessarily because of a loss on Kenshin's part. So what's happened is, and we'll see some of these events, but not others in our playthrough. But what we definitely won't see is that after the tripartite alliance breaks up, and we'll see some of that, the Hojo send a son to go live with the Uesugi, and hopefully we'll see that. So Kenshin now has two sons. He has the adopted son of his younger sister, with one of his retainers who's passed on, and we'll see those events. And he has this son who came over from the Hojo. But as the tripartite alliance breaks up, the Takeda gobble up the Imagawa's territory, and then they decide, due to some events that involve the Honganji and some other stuff, and ultimately it's just because they want to take the capital and rule Japan themselves, they're going to march west to defeat, in this order, the Matsudaira, then the Oda, and then march into Kyoto for themselves. Now, the Matsudaira end up being defeated by the Takeda in the field, but they manage to hold it together, and Shingen gets hurt, or killed, rather, and the Takeda march back to their own territories. The Takeda come back later to attack under Katsuyori. This time the Oda and the Matsudaira are marching together against them and just fucking clean their clocks. And the Takeda go into a massive collapse. And the Oda basically gobble up the territory of the Takeda and become even more powerful. The Oda have also, by this point, destroyed the Azai and Asakura clans. We've beaten the Asakura in one of the realities in previous videos where we, took over Hokuriku and got the Hokuriku ending. But the Oda now control all that territory. They've taken over most of the Takeda territory, and they are definitely pressing up on the borders of the Nagao/Uesugi at this point. So the Uesugi have everything that, well, we don't have the Ashina territories. They have the territories we start with, and they've taken the Jinbo territories, and they're moving against the Hatakeyama. And the Hatakeyama don't really have any events that I checked. The only events they have are these events, which are about their defeat. So, although we took the Hatakeyama territories early, in this reality, the Oda are marching to save the Hatakeyama. Really, they just don't want the Uesugi getting any stronger. And that's what these events are about, because we have already, in our reality, taken over these castles. But this is the point where Kenshin actually does move to take them, which is after the Takeda have collapsed and the Oda are gobbling up Takeda territory. Kenshin is moving against the Hatakeyama clan. Frost enshrouds the darkened camp. The air of autumn is clear. Geese traverse the sky above. The moon shines ever so bright. Oh wait, that's him saying that. So I should do... I'm trying to do the voice that he had in Samurai Warriors 2, but... Frost enshrouds the darkened camp. The air of autumn is clear. Geese traverse the sky above. The moon shines ever so bright. Etsuzan is united. Before my eyes is Noshu. My home frets over my path, and yet I must carry on. Will Nanao fall? My lord, if you will consider what comes after taking the now. Shibata, Akechi, Niwa, Takigawa. They have quite the reputation for their bravery. Yes, they are on their way here.
Rout them!
They are puppets of Nobunaga Oda, all of them wretched crooks. We should not spare even one of their soldiers. Once we send their heads down the Totorigawa River, Nobunaga will have to react. Agreed. If we manage to defeat the scoundrel Nobunaga, we'll clear a road to the capital. So long as heaven's favor remains with us. Dots. 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 Those are the two, both adopted sons. Although one is his biological nephew and related to the Nagao clan, and that's definitely closer. And the other is a Hojo, who was a former enemy. But this kind of matters. Dots!
Follow my lead. Everyone!
Everyone, the time is now. Let us show the Oda the true strength of the Uesugi. Nobunaga Oda, how will you respond? Frost enshrouds the darkened camp. The air of autumn is clear. Geese traverse the sky above. The moon shines ever so bright. That Suzanne is united. Before my eyes is no shoe. My home frets over my path, and yet I must carry up. This poem is said to have been read by Terutora at a moon-viewing banquet before the great Nanao Castle fell. And then the Battle of Totorigawa, which... this is always a fun one to me. Kenshin is a playable character in Samurai Warriors 2, but he really just seems to exist. Samurai Warriors 2 likes to spend its time playing around with the events. Some of the events after Nobunaga Oda rises, and some of the events leading up to Sekigahara. So, Kenshin kind of exists as this weird old character who's not explained, that Kanetsugu Naoe works for. So this is one of like 2 battles that Kenshin actually makes sense to be in that game. And they use that map in a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know, it's a battle I find very memorable in Samurai Warriors 2. And then I remember it in Kessen 2 because fucking, like, Kenshin uses fucking ninja magic to teleport his units around in that game. It's maddening. But in reality, it's the only battle where the Oda fight the Uesugi, and the Uesugi spank the Oda, as we will see. I don't think it exists in this game as a playable battle, or else I would be trying to figure out a way to show it. Nobunaga Oda sent an army backed by Katsuie Shibata in a desperate attempt to save Nanao Castle from Terutora Uesugi's assault. But it was too late. We was too late. Nanao Castle had fallen, and Terutora was headed southward to meet the Oda clan.
Swivel on my spear!
Oh, we're the opponent. If Terutora marches our way, then we'll take him out. We'll take him head on.
The situation appears dire.
No, it's too risky. A frontal assault against Terutora would only end in greater losses for us. Shut up, coward. Have you forgotten who is in charge here? Bite your tongue and follow my orders.
Absolutely not.
Will you not listen to reason? I won't sacrifice my soldiers on account of your recklessness. Forgive me, but I am taking my troops home. Farewell.
This vexes me no end.
Wait, Hideyoshi, I won't allow this. I'll have your head for insubordination. Come back here. Defying a general's command was a violation of the clan's code, and Hideyoshi Hashiba would face a severe admonition from Nobunaga. Still, his judgment was correct. Katsuie Shibata would face Terutora head-on at Totorigawa River, only to suffer a crushing defeat.
We had no chance.
Ha!
Gone.
Is that all the Oda have to offer? Is that all you got?
I thought myself better than this.
Grr, you'll pay for this, you hear me? You'll pay! Though Terutora boasted a force powerful enough to defeat the Oda, he chose not to continue the advance. Citing some issue of concern in Kanto, he withdrew his army. It seemed an irrational move on Terutora's part, imparting a sense of panic to the decision. Perhaps it was a matter related to his health. One might say that the Uesugi's army's return to Echigo was fate, showing the Oda clan a small mercy after a long string of misfortunes. But God of War Terutora Uesugi had once again proven his might at the Battle of Totorigawa, and the reputation of the Oda clan would suffer for it. And you've got some stuff about Hisahide blowing himself up. Hideyoshi's got a new job. Hisahide's even more dead, I guess. Other things happen involving people who aren't us. And then the Siege of Otate. Teratora Uesugi was born into the clan, which served as the Echigo agent, inheriting leadership from his brother Harukage. He had challenged Shingen Takeda and sent his soldiers down to Kanto on many occasions. Teratora's exploits had earned him such nicknames as the Dragon of Echigo and the God of War. However, this formidable warrior's life would be unexpectedly cut short. And now you can see how I didn't want to play through these events. He was in Kasugayama Castle preparing for an upcoming battle when he decided to take a rest, and suddenly fainted. He would not regain consciousness, and after a few days he was confirmed dead. News of their mighty leader's passing struck the clan with unease. The main question hanging over their heads was who would succeed Teratora. See, it does feel like his death feels like a huge anticlimax. Now, in actual history, he apparently died on the toilet. Which doesn't sound... I mean, it's not as bad as how David Carradine went, but it still doesn't sound like that noble or awesome. And there are rumors that, oh, it's this, like, super secret ninja assassin thing, where a ninja was, like, slithering through the actual human excrement to get into the latrines and shoot a poison arrow up. But in actual reality, they think that he probably died of some form of... I don't know if it would be colorectal cancer. Not occurred to me that would be a reason, because I feel kind of connected to Kenshin, but not because of that. But no, like they thought he had some kind of like intestinal cancer, because he, was experiencing a lot of like, that sort of distress you would think someone would have if they had blockages in the digestive system. And the fact that he was a... Actually, no, I think I remember reading that they think he died of esophageal cancer. Either way, yeah, like he was having a lot of that sort of distress at the end. Teratora was a strict believer in Bishamonten, remaining celibate his entire life. But even though he never fathered his own children, he had adopted two. One of these was Kagakatsu, the son of Teratora's older sister Sentouine. Oh, I thought she was his younger sister, his older sister, okay. And the late Masakage of the Ueda Nagao clan. That's right, because the Nagao had splintered off too. And Kagatora Nagao defeated Masakage, and rather than having him kill himself for rebelling, he welcomed him back into the clan and treated him with respect and put him in a high position, which is one of the things that made Kenshin who he is. And then married him to his sister and adopted their son to be his own, and raised him high up in the clan as well. So that's Kagakatsu. The other was the beautiful and talented Zhang Wei. Sorry. The wise and talented Zhang Wei is a running gag Bobo and I have about Dynasty Warriors 5, because everything is, of course, about Koei games now. The other was the beautiful and talented Kagatora, son of Ujiyasu Hojo. Teratora had never given a declaration concerning which one would inherit his position. Neither Kagakatsu nor Kagatora knew what the other was thinking, but their retainers quickly prepared them to battle for position all the same. Kasugayama Castle Town, Kanatsugu Higuchi's residence. My lord, a report, my lord. I have word from... Let's start over. A report, my lord. I have heard word that Lord Kakakatsu's forces have entered Kasugayama Castle and seized the treasury. Trying to remember how he talked. He was like over the top. Like, I'm gonna make him talk like WD, right? He was over the top goofy, man. Like, look at that fucking helmet. I don't think he wore that in real life at all, but it does. It's a real helmet that exists. Like, it's... I think the character on it means love. Is that so? What of Lord Kagatora? He was forced to enter Otate because his castle had been taken. He's in Otate, at the palace of the former leader. Could this mean he has sided with Lord Kagatora? Otate was the residence of the retired former leader and father-in-law of Toyotomi, Noramasa Uesugi Yamanouchi. Furthermore, it appears that Lord Kagatora has requested assistance from his former clan, the Hojo. And that it seems he intends to go to war. He is the son of the god of war, after all. A large conflict was brewing within the Uesugi clan. The siege was set for what would become known as the Siege of Otate. And the battles continue with Kakakatsu or Kagatora. Toyotomi Uesugi's death resulted in the Siege of Otate, a fight to determine the successor of the Uesugi clan. On one side was Kakakatsu Uesugi, son of Masakage Nagao. On the other was Kagatora Uesugi, son of Ujiyasu Hojo. Many of the retainers whose families had served the Uesugi family for generations, as well as other powerful figures within Echigo, supported Kakakatsu Uesugi. On the other hand, Kagatora Uesugi had earned the support of those with deep ties to Kanto, his original clan the Hojo, and allies from various other countries. Countries? I guess they don't mean Japan as a country. Katsuyori Takada's castle. I bring word, my lord. A messenger from Lord Kanatsugu Higuchi of Echigo has arrived.
I hear you've something to say.
I change this guy's voice every time. Higuchi, he is said to be Kagakatsu's right-hand man. What does he have to say? He says that there's no need to interfere in Uesugi matters.
I won't.
My wife is born to the Hojo, and they are our ally. And their leader, Lord Ujimasa, has requested that we assist Kagatora. Remember what I said about how there was all these intermarriages between the Imagawa, the Hojo, and the Takeda? And that the wives would play on the husbands to support their own clans? Like, this is the way the Hojo were trying to kind of control shit. And now they've got the ruler of the Takeda siding with the Hojo, even though they'd been at war before. But yeah, that's what's going on. However, he also said that should you stand down, he will offer you 500 gold ryo as compensation.
This cannot be.
What? How has he managed to get such a large amount of... Wait, does he mean to influence us with money? That's... I need to calm down and think. If Kagakatsu can offer me so much, he must have taken the treasury at least. If that's the case, Kagatora doesn't have much time left. If I'm to save him, I must act quickly. But what would come of that? The Takeda would be surrounded by the Hojo on all sides. Eventually, we too may have to yield to them. Should I instead join hands with Kagakatsu and take down the Hojo together? My lord, what do you say? I accept the offer. Are you sure? They were always our enemies. He's a Uesugi loyalist. I mean, the Hojo are like, I'm sure. I know full well that this does not mean that I am allowing myself to be bought. But know full well that this does not mean I am allowing myself to be bought. I mean to be neutral towards Kagakatsu and Kagatora. This way, both the Hojo and Uesugi will be indebted to us later. I see. Very clever, my lord. Shame that we'll both be dead very soon, but okay. But things did not progress as Katsuyori planned. The Hojo clan grew distrustful of the Takeda's unclear stance and dissolved their alliance. Katsuyori panicked. As a countermeasure against an attack by the Hojo, he immediately wed his sister Kikuhime to Kagakatsu, establishing a marriage language alliance with the Uesugi clan. However, the Uesugi clan was crippled with internal conflict and did not have the power they once wielded. The Takeda clan would have to fight the Hojo all but on their own. And the Imago clan is restored, and some other stuff happens, and there's this, and there's this. But now we get Kanatsugu and Kagatora. Kanatsugu Higuchi was the eldest son of Kanatoyo Higuchi. At the recommendation of... See, this is the music that played when that one Echigo clan's agent dissolved. Like, that Uesugi guy died and gave his castle. Like, it's not... It's wistful. But anyway. At the recommendation of Terutora's sister Sentoine, he had served Kagakatsu Uesugi as an attendant from a young age. And this is the thing. In the Samurai Warriors games... I I never got to play 3 because it was only on the Switch, but in 2 is my favorite, and this guy shows up a lot and is like the most important play. He's got like fucking weird things that involve like force field made of like anti-ghost stickers and stuff. But he's kind of the only character, like, Kenshin is playable, but all of the idea that the Uesugi were this important honorable clan is bound up in this guy's missions much later. But in Samurai Warriors 4, he is connected with Aya, who is the mother of Kagakatsu, and Kagakatsu, who's playable as this kind of, like, you know, not particularly, like, it's fun, because the whole character is that this guy talks over him and he never gets to say anything, but Kagakatsu seems like an okay guy. He's just not as confident as his dad or his chief retainer, who is this guy. And then Aya is just weird. Echigo, Kasugeyama Castle. This would be our main base, by the way. Yeah, these can't be in order. I don't understand the order they're placed in the menu, because a couple of events ago, he was dying of esophageal cancer, and he's back now. So that the spooky boat ghost says, "So you're Kanatoyo-san?" "Yes, my lord, my name is Kanatsugu." "I am pleased to hear that you have been a good servant to Kagakatsu. I hope this continues." Dots. "I thank you for your kind words, my lord." "I also hear from my sister that you like to read." "You often spend your free time in the library. Isn't that right?" Yes." "Well then, come with me. I'm going to kill you now." Kanatsugu followed after Terutora until he found himself in the library of Kasugeyama Castle. "This is my library. You may come as often as you please. I will let the guards know you are allowed entrance." "This is incredible. I cannot thank you enough." Mysterious voice, "My lord." "Well, if it isn't Kagatora." Kagatora Uesugi was the son of Ujiyasu Hojo and had been adopted by Terutora. Terutora had yet to declare who would be his successor, an issue responsible for the brewing conflict between Kagakatsu and Kagatora. Dots. "I see Lord Kagakatsu is here as well. Very good. We can keep each other company while we read." The wife of Kagatora was Kagakatsu's sister, making the two men brothers-in-law. Yes. "Kagatora Uesugi. I hear he wants to be the next leader of the Uesugi clan, and he's been steadily gaining supporters. For this man becoming leader would mean selling the Uesugi to the Hojo. I must prevent it from happening, no matter what it takes." "Lord Higuchi, I see you've been given access to this place as well." "You remember the name of one so lowly as myself. I am honored. But yes, I have just been granted permission to make use of this fine library. I hope my presence is not a bother to you." "You don't have to be so polite. I know you're plotting against me. We're close in age, and we both share a liking for literature. We should behave more like friends, if it pleases you." "You are too kind. You are also a scumbag who planted a betrayal of the Hojo. Thank you. He remembers my name and even my age as a matter of course. I mustn't allow myself to underestimate him." "So this is the right-hand man of Kagakatsu. He seems clever and strong of will, not to mention handsome. Kanatsugu, I must have you at my side." Kanatsugu Higuchi enjoyed a favorable reputation thanks to his good looks and charisma. He was admired for being tall, good-looking, and well-spoken. Kagatora Uesugi was also known for a striking appearance, said to have no equal in all of Kanto. Dots. So that's a fun little scene, because basically the son of Sentoin and Masakage, I guess? Can't remember his name. Yeah, who's kind of the one that feels like the true successor to Kenshin, just because he's actually born of the Nagao clan and is from Echigo. He has Kanatsugu kind of backing him up. And Kagatora and Kanatsugu are pitched as like, haha, it's so nice to be your friend, ha 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 ha. But like completely watching each other like tigers. It's a fun dynamic. But then they do end up going to war, and now I'm like, okay. So we've got Kagatora Uesugi Falls, and there's a fictional version where Kagatora Uesugi wins. So this is one where you play through these events, and then after that you pick one side or the other, and they go to war. And Kagatora only has 3 cities. He has an alliance with the Takeda and with the Hojo, but it's not as useful as you might think. And I did a lot of off-screen. I did a lot of in-game editing and cheating in order to make his side win, so I could see that historical event, which is fictional. But the actual thing that really happens is that the Kagakatsu wins, not Kagatora, and because he's actually got most of the supporters, and Kagatora actually loses. So that's what happens in actual real history. Let's see that one. Kagatora Uesugi Falls. Kagatora was the 7th son of the Sagami daimyo Ujiyasu Hojo. Yet his name was given to him by the god of war, Toyotomi Uesugi, who saw promise in the young man's talent. During the siege of Hotate, which had been instigated by Toyotomi's death, Kagatora would gain the support of his familial clan, the Hojo, to fight Kagakatsu Uesugi for the right to inherit the authority of the late god of war. But fortune was not on his side. This spirit that never found a place to take root, letting it rot here would cause no one any remorse.
This is where my life ends?
My life provided not, and so I lose everything and stand bare and alone at the end. I belong to neither the Hojo nor the Uesugi. What have I contributed to either? What purpose have I served? Kagatora's exact date of birth is unknown, and his earlier years remain a mystery. Some say he was never even given a grave. Though much of Kagatora Uesugi's life remains shrouded in mystery, what is known of the man certainly spells a tale of sorrow and bitterness. Upon his death, the siege of Hotate that had shaken the Uesugi clan was resolved, with Kagakatsu as the victor. The Uesugi clan would unify under clan leader Kagakatsu's rule and go on to challenge many other daimyo for power. So that's the real historical ending of the Uesugi power struggle, and much easier to achieve in-game. And like I said, I did a lot of cheating to get the other version, which might be near the bottom because it's fictional. Here we go. So this is the fictional version, where you take the adopted son from the Hojo clan, and even to make this work with cheating, I moved as many of our created officers as I could to the cities he takes over, so they would work for him. And there weren't enough slots for all the created officers to be working for him. Nevertheless, I was able, through copious use of cheating, to win. So this is the fictional scenario where he wins. The Siege of Hotate. After the sudden death of Toyotomi, the Uesugi clan would be forced to endure a long and arduous battle, throwing Echigo into a state of disorder. Kagatora took responsibility of the leader of the Yamanouchi Uesugi clan, Noramasa Uesugi. As former Kanto Kanrai, Noramasa's position had formed the basis of the Uesugi clan's legitimacy. With the aid of his home clan, the Hojo, Kagatora steadily broke Kagakatsu's castles and retainers. Finally, the road to victory had opened up to him. It led him all the way to Kagakatsu's castle, where he forced Kagakatsu to surrender.
To think that I would be captured.
Lord Kagatora, I can no longer resist your authority. My life is in your hands. Lift your head, Lord Kagakatsu. We are both foster children of Lord Toyotomi. We should hold no grudges against each other. Even your retainers who deceived you and caused this disorder believed it to be for the sake of the Uesugi. Let us wash away our enmity. We are children of the god of war. We must join hands and fulfill Lord Toyotomi's wishes of bringing prosperity to the Uesugi.
I'm deeply grateful.
Lord Kagatora, I am most grateful for your proposal, but I fear I am not fit to stand at your side as I am now. I will return to the clan of my late father, the Uedo Nagao, and reclaim the name of Kagakatsu Nagao. From there, I hope to serve as you Service you? No. To serve you as your retainer. I will not allow it. Lord Toyotomi recognized you as his own foster child, and as such you will maintain the Uesugi name. Kagatora refuted Kagakatsu's continuous attempts to shed the Uesugi name. Eventually, Kagakatsu agreed to become his retainer, serving him as an Uesugi. The disorder within the Uesugi clan has come to an end. May the hardships we have been through make us stronger. It was a long and dreadful fight. I could not be more grateful that it's finally over, and that my son, whom you have supported since he was a child, was defeated by the Hojo clan. Toyotomi, are you watching? Your sons, both Lord Kagatora and your actual blood relative, my son, have restored prosperity to the Uesugi through a bloody civil war. Thus was the siege of Otate resolved. The Uesugi clan was reunited under the rule of Kagatora, who would hold his own against other great daimyo of the time. So that didn't actually happen, and as this game likes to throw in historical events where rivals get to be good buddies and best of friends. Speaking of that, we won't see this one on screen either. So let's quick watch. Because there's two different versions of, there's two different fantasy endings, and I went ahead and did this one on screen also through cheating to make it happen really fast. But there's two different fantasy scenarios where Kenshin defeats Shingen once and for all, or Shingen defeats Kenshin once and for all. So just for the hell of it, let's see what happens if Shingen defeats Kenshin once and for all. Toyotomi Uesugi had clashed with his mortal enemy, Shingen, in numerous battles. But Shingen had steadily chipped away at his power. Cornered in his last castle, Toyotomi was finally brought before Shingen as a captive. We've not been this close since our scrap at Kawanakajima, have we? What an honor to meet you again. Ha ha ha!
There is nothing more honorable than falling in battle.
You need say nothing to the defeated. Take my head and be done with it.
I will not give you an honorable death.
Whoa, Jesus. Let's not be too hasty. I have no intention of taking your life. Those talents of yours are too precious. Thoughts?
I should make my thoughts known.
Won't you lend me that strength and help bring this nation under the rule of the Takeda?
You have my thanks.
It is embarrassing to hear such praise from one who has fought so hard to defeat me. The Tiger of Kai is as extraordinary as they say. I entrust to you all the kin and retainers that have fought alongside me. Many are quite talented. Let them bolster the Takeda ranks. Dots.
I will not follow you.
However, I am successor to the Yamauchi Uesugi clan, the house of Kanto Konrai. I cannot bend the knee to the Takeda clan, to the stewards of Kai.
Fine idea.
Fine idea, don't work for me. So the dragon and the tiger cannot stand together after all. I do understand your position, though. What shall we do then?
I would like you to hear this.
I would leave these lands and travel to Koyasan, where I would devote myself to the Buddha's teachings.
Very well.
I see.
I accept.
A fitting pursuit. Do as you will. I won't stop you. Only, you will always be welcome to join me. Should you change your mind, I still believe the day will come that the dragon and tiger might join forces.
I am very grateful.
When I found enlightenment and severed myself from all earthly ties, perhaps then that day will come. Although at that point, why would you become a warlord again? Whatever. I'm looking forward to it. But find your enlightenment before my faculties fade, will you? Then this is farewell. Thus did the Echigo Nagao and the Yamanouchi Uesugi cease to exist as daimyo clans. Their clan leader, Toyotomi, traveled to Kyosan and devoted himself to a life of asceticism. However, this brief conversion between the dragon and the tiger saw an amicable curtain close on a long and bitter struggle. The day the dragon and tiger might stand together did not seem so far off. I know we're going long, but I really do want to wrap up this stuff, so there's just some events surrounding that guy with the goofy helmet that we saw supporting Kagakatsu. So I do want to see them real quick. So There's one called Kunikiyo Murakami changes his name. Please show up. I see. Okay, Kunikiyo Murakami changes his name. I don't know who this guy is, but he's Uesugi, so we'll watch it. The siege of Otate, which had divided the Uesugi clan of Echigo in two, had been resolved, with Kagakatsu Uesugi emerging as the victor. A servant of Kagakatsu, Kunikiyo Murakami, was recognized for his achievements.
Most pleasing.
Your efforts are worthy of honor. Thus, I will grant you a reward, a portion of my name. You will now be known as Kagakuni.
I'm deeply grateful.
Not only have I been recognized by the clan of the late Lord Kenshin, their new leader has now bestowed upon me part of his name. I cannot believe it. When Kenshin was still alive, Kunikiyo Murakami had served as successor of the Yamaru Uesugi clan, an illegitimate branch of the Uesugi, a bunch of Uesugi bastards. During that time, he had used the last name Yamwara. I, Kagakuni Yamwara, will continue to serve Lord Uesugi's family with the same undying loyalty I always have. Although it was no longer a daimyo family, the Murakami clan, the house that had once battled the Takeda in Shinshu, was set to embark on a new path alongside the Uesugi. So that's nice. Doesn't really seem like it matters so much, but it's nice. And then there's two more that we'll just knock out real quick. Succession of the Naoe clan. Because that guy with the goofy helmet eventually becomes Kanetsugu Naoe. So maybe that happens here. Kagatsuna Naoe. A highly respected chief retainer of the Uesugi clan since the time of Kenshin's father, Tamakage Nagao. Yeah, and we've seen him in several events. But Kagatsuna did not have a son, so he introduced a suitor to his daughter Osen to adopt an heir. However, his son-in-law and successor to the Naoe clan, Nobutsuna, was killed during a quarrel over a ward in the castle. Inside Kasugiyama Castle. You called, my lord. It is about the Naoe clan.
Would that I be forgiven?
I was saddened to hear of Lord Nobutsuna. Those responsible shall be punished, and I shall ensure that such things will not happen again in the future.
Might I share something?
There is actually something I would like to say. Wait, would you allow me to speak first? Oh, of course, please excuse me. Thank you, Kanetsugu. Will you succeed in that way? What did you say? Seeing you so befuddled is a rare sight indeed. Please forgive me. In truth, that was what I wished to ask you. I hope to learn what would happen to the Naoe after Lord Nobutsuna's death. I should be talking like this. Me, a successor, but what of Lady Osen? As if you needed to ask, you shall marry her. Do you accept?
At once.
Yes, my lord. Thank you very much. Kanetsugu's mother was the younger sister of Kagatsuna Naoe, meaning that Osen was his elder cousin by 3 years. They had met a number of times since they were young. Hence, this music. Yuita Castle, Naoe clan residence. Lady Osen! Lord Kanetsugu. Lady Osen, please accept my condolences about Lord Nobutsuna. But I would like to say something. Perhaps it is not something a man should say, but I will all the same. I like to wear women's clothes. I'm glad this has happened. I have repressed these feelings for too long. But that was because you belonged to another. That is no longer the case. I now can love you without reservation. I can protect you with everything I have. I swear I shall never love another as much as I love you, and I shall not die and leave you alone.
Could you spare a moment?
Shut up. Lord Kanetsugu, will you listen to what I have to say? My apologies. I like this is like the second to last scene he's in. I'm not even sure the next one is about him, actually, but yeah, like his few appearances in the game are pretty charming. I spoke without considering how you would feel about all this. It seems I've forgotten myself this day.
Not a problem at all.
That is quite all right. I feel the same way. I always wished somewhere deep in my heart, but I never thought that day would come. Lady Osen! I look forward to spending the rest of our lives together. Tall, handsome, and well-spoken, possessed of fine features, and a fine conversationalist besides. Many records describe Kanetsugu Higuchi as being both handsome and kind. It is said that from the day he became Kanetsugu Naoe, he never took a concubine. Which was kind of unusual back in the day. Like, if he was a high-ranking clan dude, and he married a noble woman and was faithful to her completely, that's not how everybody rolled, so that's pretty cool. Like, he was a goofy character. He like, in Samurai Warriors, I thought he was a pain in the ass and self-righteous, but in every other game that he's appeared in, he seemed pretty cool. And having played as him in various stupid hit the square button 1,000 times to win Koei games, I feel like I know the man personally. Anyway, the final, I know we're going super long, but the final event we need to see is Tensho Jingo Conflict, and I don't even know. Okay, yeah, this one really doesn't have anything to do with us, but we're mentioned, so let's do it. This is the last Uesugi clan event, other than the ones that we will see as we play through the rest of this. Nobunaga Oda was killed at Hanoji Temple. Well, this is quite a surprise. I'm the playable character from the first third of Legend of Sanada. And here I thought we'd finally brought peace by serving the Oda. This will certainly keep you on your toes. This world certainly keeps you on your toes. The Oda domain that was most shaken by the tumult was the land of eastern Japan, which had only just been obtainable after the Takada's destruction. Hidetaka Kawajira, the custodian of Kai, was killed in a rebellion organized by former Takada retainers. In Joshu, Kazamasu Takagawa fled to his main castle in Ise after the Hojo clan rose up against the Oda. Nagayoshi Mori, who was in charge of Shinano, was only able to escape to Mino by taking hostages. Kai, Shinano, and Kozuke are now without a lord. The Tokugawa from Suruga, the Hojo from Sagami, and the Uesugi from Echigo. They will certainly all vie for control.
An opportunity has revealed itself.
It periled Wells' opportunity. Perhaps the Sanada should take this chance. We should first join the Hojo. The Sanada, located in the northern part of Kozuke and Shinano, joined with the Hojo to bring order back to the territory. Now why don't we have the Hojo defeat the neighboring Uesugi for us? Masayuki Sanada decided to use the Hojo forces as a defense against the Oda. In fact, he uses them to recapture the lands of northern Shinano, which have been taken by the Uesugi. The Hojo require Kozuke for their supply line, and Tokugawa will certainly not overlook that fact. Just as Masayuki predicted, the Tokugawa army entered Kai and southern Shinano from Suruga and threatened the Hojo clan's flank. By ceding northern Shinano, the Hojo clan made peace with the Uesugi and turned their army towards the Tokugawa clan. While a peace may have been made, the Uesugi are but shadows of their former selves. Now, he says as I'm trying to read. With the Hojo moving south, we control their supply lines. Time is ripe to turn the tables. The Sanada suddenly changed alliances to the Tokugawa clan, leaving the Hojo army now in Shinano cut from their supplies. In the confusion, the Sanada took the pneumatic castle, from the Hojo with a rapid assault. This also happens in Legend of the Sanada. Now we need only weather the Hojo counterattack. Lord Tokugawa will not forsake those who follows him. The Hojo army put up a fierce attack in an attempt to save their main force in Shinano. But the Sanada were able to hold on, giving the Tokugawa clan a powerful advantage over the Hojo in Kai and Shinano. They also made peace with the Oda clan, in a repeat of this visual, which had somehow managed to recover its strength. It was decided that Kai and Shinano would belong to the Tokugawa, and Kozuke would go to the Hojo. But the Tokugawa-affiliated Sanada had taken the northern region of Kozuke for their own. I suppose we could end this now, but where's the fun in that? As a condition for peace, the Tokugawa asked the Sanada to return Numata Castle to the Hojo. Defying this request, the Sanada moved to Ueda Castle, which had been built to defend against the Uesugi. but they actually intended to join the Uesugi and preserve control over their domain.
Shall we change our course?
Oh, the Tokugawa will surely not be pleased. Looks like I'll have to prepare for another fight. Masayuki Sanada, the man who had 3 clans dancing on his strings, would later become known as the Trickster. And thus, 2.5 videos, because this one's so freaking long, and we have seen all of the Uesugi events except for the ones that we should still see post Kawanakajima, but before our fictional defeat of Shingen brings him into the fold. And even if we miss some of those, I can show them on screen later. But basically, I just spent 3 videos recapping our history and going through events that we won't see, so that we can come back next time with gameplay that will be the beginning of the final, lengthy, but still final stretch of this Let's Play, where we are going to play through with Kagetora Nagao, Kenshin Uesugi, whatever his name is, taking over Japan. With no more resetting and starting in new scenarios. I know this is a weird way to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys will join me next time for some actual gameplay. Thanks for watching.